Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? It's your boy Cash here, and today I am bringing you my honest opinion on Call of Duty Vanguard. The game's been out for a little bit now. I've given it plenty of time to breathe, plenty of time for me to get experience on the game, learn the things that are great, learn the things that are horrible. So let's get right into this. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is multiplayer, because that's the main thing I focus on this channel, between Warzone and the actual COD multiplayer. Obviously right now I can't necessarily review the new Warzone map and everything that brings, because it doesn't come out until December. I will review that once it comes out, but for now we are going to stick to specifically Vanguard multiplayer. First thing, Vanguard is using Modern Warfare 2019's engine, which I think is amazing. You could tell by the movement. The movement is completely fluid in this game. Like, I love it. Just a quick, fast-paced running around shooting. It's something that I enjoy in COD, and it's something they've definitely improved on through the years. Cold War didn't get it just right. Like, it was there, it was just certain things about it I wasn't a big fan of, but the movement in Vanguard is great. The other thing that they've definitely done well is the guns. I'm not talking about balancing or anything like that, I'll get to that. But the guns themselves are really cool. Me personally, I'm not a big fan of the World War II era. I don't mind it, it's a nice switch up, but you know, I like my modern day, you know, the M16s, the Emperor A ones and stuff like that. This is a little of a side that I'm not a big fan of, but they did very well. I've been loving the Kar 98 sniper. I've been loving the STG, the MP40, the PPSH, the Automatron. There's a lot of guns I love in this game. Personally, I haven't really used shotguns that much. However, I've watched plenty of videos on that, and I'll get to them later. The other thing too is the weapon attachment system. The weapon attachment system is great. I love the new idea they brought to it. It's no longer like you have to pick and choose. It's you could put on whatever you want, but they balanced it in such a way where, you know, if you want a long range, higher damage build, you can do that. Or if you want a shorter range, quick movement build, you can also do that. And it doesn't necessarily give you a competitive advantage over your opponents depending on which one you use. Now, also the perk system has been balanced very well. There's only a couple perks I would recommend them kind of move around, but for the most part, it's pretty damn well balanced. There's no like overpowered perk build that you can go with. It's kind of your own personal preference now, which it should always be, and not like in Warzone, consequently Modern Warfare 2019 and then Cold War, where it's like there's like this meta perk build to go for and you really don't use anything else. They've balanced that pretty well. The other thing too is the kill streaks. I would say the kill streaks are definitely refreshing, but they're familiar. They don't stray too far away from your typical, you know, dropping a bomb out of the sky, controlling it, mortar fire. It's stuff you would expect from a World War II game, stuff we've seen in previous World War II CODs, and it's a welcoming sight. Me personally, I love the attack dogs. In terms of the guard dog and attack dog, I think they could use a little bit of a nerf. I shouldn't have to empty an entire clip into a dog and finally kill him. I mean, I get it, it's especially for a guard dog, it's one dog and it's kind of worthless for it to die quick if it's not going to kill anyone. But the AI for the dogs could definitely be improved, as I've seen them teleporting around the map. I've seen them fly up and bite someone on a higher level, and they'll just straight up spawn on you and kill you. So if they fix that system, I think they can nerf their health a bit. Another big thing is the maps. The maps are a welcoming sight. Let me tell you, especially after Cold War, I was about ready to quit. The maps were so bad in Cold War. There was like I could count on one hand the maps that I sort of enjoyed on Cold War. This game, I can count on one hand the maps that I don't like. So that is definitely an improvement. Now, the maps that I don't like would definitely be Oasis and Demyansk. I think I'm pronouncing that correct. The maps that I think are okay, like I don't mind, are Red Star and Subpens. Subpens is set up very weird, where it's like it's very top heavy on one side, and if you're up there, you basically see the majority of the map. Not a big fan of it, but there's ways of getting around it. Red Star, sort of the same thing. Depending on the side that you spawn in, you can get held pretty easily, unfortunately. And I think with a little spawn fixing, I think they can fix that. Oasis definitely is not a great map. It's very one-sided. The one window on the opposing side pretty much has view of your entire, like spawn area, and you can get held very easily. The only time I sort of enjoy this map is Search and Destroy, but trying to play any other game mode, I promise you will not have a great time. Demyansk, also not a big fan of. That map needs a lot of work, and I typically try to avoid it if possible. In terms of the map's look and feel, they've definitely improved from the beta. The lighting issues and, overall, the majority of things that people were complaining about in the beta, they listened and fixed, which I'm very happy about, because even on next gen and PC, there was very strange lighting issues, and then God forbid if you were on current gen, I'm talking about Xbox One and PS4, good luck, because you would spawn in and it would just bug out. You want to be able to see. So I'm very happy they fixed that. That's like a game-breaking bug. The other thing they really improved on, which I wasn't really too excited for, like I kind of could care less about it, was the clan system. I kind of like how they did it. They seem to improve on the whole regiment idea, which is good. Now you can level up your clan, and you get cool little, they're like banners or covers around your banner. So it's like a little outline around your banner. You can have like, I think the one I'm currently using is like a metal wire or something like that. It's small. Yeah, it sounds stupid, but making something out of a clan system that kind of makes you want to grind for it, it's kind of cool. If you play with your friends a lot and you're all part of the same clan, why not? So I definitely was surprised by that system. FOV on consoles. That is a big thing that I think majority of console users have been asking for years, especially in Warzone. Once you integrate PC players in with console players, you could sit here and say, oh, mouse and keyboard has a better advantage, or controller has a better advantage because the aim assist. I'm not really here to discuss that. What I'm here to discuss is the fact that people on PC had the competitive advantage on you due to the fact that there was no FOV slider in Warzone and Modern Warfare. So I'm kind of happy I'm really happy they brought that in. Obviously Cold War had it, but it's nice to see them continue it and not just be like a one-off thing. As I see many games nowadays are starting to include that, the more and more console and PC get integrated together. There's also been quite a bit of audio improvement from the beta. If you had played the beta, you could probably hear crickets in the middle of a gunfight. The guns were loud and the footsteps were not. So they seem to have balanced it pretty well. I would like the footsteps to be turned up just a little bit more, especially if they're going to use that audio system for Warzone. That's killer. Big thing I rely on in Warzone is being able to hear footsteps, being able to tell where they're coming from. And it seems like in Vanguard, even still, it's kind of quiet. It's very hard to hear if you're not specifically listening in on it. And I think they definitely need to bump it up even more, but it's definitely ways better than what it was in the beta. They've also added a new pacing system into multiplayer that I've actually thoroughly enjoyed. So there you get 3 different options for pacing. You can either get tactical, assault, or blitz. Tactical is more of your 6v6, well, basically tactical multiplayer, where you start to think about what you're doing a little bit more because people are more spread out. Me personally, I'm not a big fan of this for the simple fact that the maps are a lot bigger than previous COD games, and yeah, I'm cool. I'm cool on that. Assault is typically the playstyle I like, where it's, you see a minimum of like 8v8, sometimes you'll see 10v10, and it's more of like your traditional COD feeling, but it's like the players fill out the map nicely. It's not overcrowded, but it's not undercrowded. Blitz, on the other hand, is all-out chaos. If you are able to get high kills in Blitz and not die to people spawning next to you, congratulations, you were one of a million. Blitz is what it's basically called. It's just all-out chaos. Sometimes it's 12v12, Sometimes it's 16v16, and even on one map, I think it's 20v20. So it gets a little crazy. There's a lot of people to shoot at. And because of that, I think Blitz has the worst spawning issue, where, you know, there's players everywhere on the map. Some of your teammates get behind the enemy line, and now the enemies are spawning with you, and you're like, what the fuck? So that's something I definitely want them to fix there. But overall, the pacing system is actually pretty welcoming sight. And the big thing that I've learned from the beta is that it seems like Sledgehammer is actually listening to the players. They listened to a lot of the feedback from the beta and made their correct adjustments, which I'm very happy about. And I hope they continue on listening to players throughout the preseason and into Season 1, as it seems like they have regarding some of the bug updates they've already implemented. To the campaign. The campaign was actually pretty well done. It was nice. It was actually really nice playing this campaign. I wasn't a big fan of Cold War's campaign. I mean, I love the whole numbers storyline. However, it seemed like they had to create something. Well, I mean, they did. They had to create a game in 5 months, and it seems like they went for a cheap kind of like revise a series that was pretty much ended, and I wasn't a big fan of. But the campaign was very lackluster for me, and I would definitely put it up there with Modern Warfare 2019's campaign. Look, I grew up playing Modern Warfare 1, 2, 3. Arguably my favorite storyline of all time. Yeah, you can debate it with Black Ops, but I really love it. From Captain Price, Soap McTavish, Ghost, General Shepard. I mean, these are people that I remember growing up, and it's people that, you know, are memorable names to me. Vanguard definitely introduces you to characters who are actually likable, and they spend their time on each character, which I really think is important. There's not really much else I want to say about the campaign specifically, as it's not something I necessarily focus on, but I just wanted to give it its kudos because they did a pretty good job. Now, on to the cons of Vanguard. Vanguard needs weapon balancing badly. As I stated before, there's a couple guns that I said that, yeah, they're broken. STG-44 is completely broken. There's hardly any recoil. It's like the most meta assault rifle you can use right now. The most meta sub machine gun you can use right now is the MP40. It also has a low recoil for a sub, and its damage is pretty high. So these two guns are definitely need some nerfing. However, they are a good counterbalance to the shotguns right now. I don't know if you guys have seen this video circling around. I don't think I'll be able to include it in this video, so I'm just not sure about fair use and all that. I just don't want to have no problems. But there's a video going around of someone running back and forth on Das House, and he gets a V2 rocket, which you need 25 kills for, in I think 33 seconds, using a specific shotgun build that basically, as long as the player is on your screen, you basically kill him. It's really broken, really stupid, and I'm looking forward to when they fix that. And if they don't, then that is killer to the game. Because the second metas start being found by, you know, people who build these or just average players, it gets abused because people watch videos and go, oh, okay, that's cool, and everyone uses it. And I'm kind of scared for people to start picking up on that, as they kind of already have. So I'm hoping they look into that and fix that soon. Master camos are a lot to ask for. I don't know about you guys, but there's always like that top tier camo, like dark matter, you know, stuff that you really want to grind for. This year's multiplayer master camo, called Atomic, it's ugly. I hate it. I don't enjoy it. Like, it kind of doesn't give you the will to even grind for it. Me personally, I like Dark Ether more, which is the Zombies master camo. However, and I'm going to segue into this, the Zombies in Vanguard sucks. Now, it's not that it's not fun. It's fun for the first couple days you play it. After that, you start to realize it's very lackluster, and there's a lot of stuff they just decided not to add. Now I do realize as updates roll through, they're going to add maps and game modes for zombies, but to release a game with a, to put it blankly, half-ass zombies is a little disrespectful, in my opinion. A lot of players really love that game mode, and they seem to have ignored them, which is sad. Another big thing is the current bugs in the game. When I had first started playing the game and I got to Prestige 1, I kind of just got stuck there for a little bit. It was a little weird. It seems they fixed it now. Big thing too, guys. When you look at someone who's like Prestige 1, it'll always show up 1 next to their name because that is the prestige that they are. You'll never see their actual level in the prestige now. I don't know if that's a bug or that's on purpose, but it's a little weird. So whenever you see a 2 next to their name, that means that they're prestige 2, and then so on and so forth. The other thing is multiplayer reticles for your site attachments. For a while, it wasn't counting the progress for that, even if you were using that specific attachment. Prior to me making this video, I know they did fix it, so thankfully that's good, although it did not count previous kills. So if you were grinding and hoping it would count, it doesn't. Camo challenges could also use a little rework. Some of them are kind of stupid, and then in terms of sniper rifle point blank kills, a lot of times it wouldn't count. I know in the recent patch notes that they had addressed that and said it's fixed. I have yet to try that, but that was a big thing. Another big meta game breaking thing is the bayonet plus the reach perk on the actual weapon perk. If you use both of these together, you're basically a sniper where you teleport. So instead of sniping with bullets, you snipe with the bayonet, and you literally just fly towards the enemy and stab them, and there's not much you can do unless you have a shotgun. And even then, you're probably still dead. And as I referred to earlier when I was talking about Blitz, is the spawning is a little broken still. It's definitely not as bad as it was in the beta. However, it still needs work, and I'm hoping they address the majority of that. Season 1 in the Warzone map come out after the game's release on December. Game came out obviously in the beginning of November. I think those are core essential parts of the game that should have been released with it. However, it's only a month, so I'm kind of letting it slide for the simple fact that the multiplayer has been pretty enjoyable. But, I mean, come on, you gotta release a full game. What's going on? And last, but certainly not least, everyone's favorite skill-based matchmaking returns in all its glory. And that's glory with quotation marks because there's nothing glorious about it. Skill-based matchmaking is horrible. I absolutely despise it. I wish it would go away. It seems to lock good players out from having good games, and it seems to lock bad players into what I would call a protected bracket, to put it lightly. The old matchmaking systems seem to do much better, and you know, I think we're just stuck with skill-based matchmaking. And I realize COD is not the only title that uses it, however, it seems to be the most broken in this game. But yeah, that's pretty much it for my review for Call of Duty Vanguard. I'll probably end up reviewing the new Caldera map once it comes out in December, but for the most part, I do have to say I have been enjoying the game. It's a welcoming sight from Cold War. In terms if I would put it above Modern Warfare 2019, I'm still not sure. If they fix everything that I kind of pointed out in the cons, then I would say yes. I would definitely put it above. The movement just seems more... I keep using the word fluid, but it's just how it just feels nice. The movement feels really nice, and as long as the movement's good and the maps are pretty decent, I can kind of get over any kind of weapon stuff for the simple fact that I'm running around, jumping around, and having a good time. So there will be plenty of COD Vanguard content to come from this channel, along with Battlefield 2042 and Halo Infinite, which I will get the same treatment to once they come out. Yes, I have a Halo bias because I grew up on Xbox, however, that doesn't exclude it from being ridiculed. That's pretty much all I want to say to you guys. If you guys liked the video, please drop a like, hit subscribe to stick around, and hit the notification bell to get alerted when new videos go live. With all of that out the way, I will see you next Monday. Aight, peace.